Good morning. Like really good morning because it's good morning, good morning, good morning. It's very, 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 very much so morning. And yeah. Thank you guys for joining the early morning edition of Girls Gore Jen. Sorry, the light is kind of, if I close this, it's just going to be really dark in here, and I don't want to turn on the ring light because my eyes hurt this morning. So yeah. We're giving this morning thing a try again, so hopefully you guys will continue to join us for that. This morning, I'm going to be talking about, what's the name of it? American Murder. I keep wanting to call it American Murderer, but I'm like, I know that's wrong. This is really starting to bug me, guys. I'm going to do that. Look a little scary. Well, I look scary without makeup anyway, but shall good. So if you haven't watched this yet and you don't want to know about it, don't watch this morning because there's gonna be fucking spoilers like left and right. But that's the thing too. I mean, I guess if you haven't been following the story and you don't, it's not a very complicated story. So if you've been following it, or even if you've watched some stuff on YouTube, you pretty much know the whole thing anyway. So I don't feel I'm really spoiling much. But yeah, so I only got a half an hour, so I guess I should dig into this. I'm trying to. I can't see my Facebook page on here, so I have to have it come up over here. I hope I'm on the right ones. I'm through Miguel's account today. Yes, I am on the right ones. I was like, please don't let this be the Bakersfield Gentleman. That would suck. Shit. Anyway, okay. So let's get into this. Basically, I like the way that the documentary started out. It kind of brought it to, it started with the day of when they started suspecting stuff, or she wasn't heard from by her friend anymore. Her friend had just dropped her off the morning before, 2 a.m. They just come from it was like a work convention in Arizona, and they live in Colorado. So her friend brought her back and dropped her off about 2 a.m. The next morning, she had a doctor's appointment because she was 15 weeks pregnant. And she didn't go to her doctor's appointment. Her friend was trying to call her left and right, couldn't get a hold of her, was texting her. Finally, she just went to her house because she's like, this is not normal. This is not right. I need to know what's going on with my friend. I literally just saw her hours ago when I dropped her off. They go over there. Her vehicle is in the driveway. And there's no movement or anything going on in the house. So, naturally her friend gets a little worried, and she calls the police, she calls the husband, and it's like, hey, what's going on? Like, where is she? She missed her doctor's appointment. And then cops show up, and then they end up waiting for the husband to finally show up. And they go inside. They go inside the house, start looking for Shanann and the girls. He's just, you can kind of tell. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe he could have seemed, normally like frantic, because what the hell's going on with my wife and kids? But it just didn't feel or look normal what he was doing, how he was acting. It was just, he did weird little stuff that like you can kind of tell off the bat he's pretty guilty of something at least. Because when they were looking through the house, he comes back through and he's got like her wedding ring on his finger, and he's like, I think she might have left. Like, shut the hell up, dude. Like, really? Yeah, okay. Let's yeah. Asshole. This guy, this is crazy. This is like one of the most senseless murders. Mass murders, I would call it. This is a small group of people. I mean, Jesus. And they're your children and your wife, especially your children. I mean, the woman has no biological link to you, but still you killed a person. But your babies, those are literally a part of you. How could you? I don't know. People are nuts. Anyway. So anyway, there starts being this, this search throughout the house. They're calling everybody, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And then finally, one of the neighbors is all like, oh yeah, I've got like a video camera system in my house, and it records outside. Hello. I don't know if that's Miggy's or Lauren or anybody, but hi. It just says Girls Going Jen. But yeah, so like the neighbor comes over with his like outside security footage deal, and they put it on his TV to watch. And he starts getting real like kind of like I can't like I can't stand still. I'm getting real fidgety and nervous and weird, and oh my god, I'm just like so stressed out right now. I don't know where she's at. Uh, and then he gets like kind of they're showing the trucks in the driveway, um, and it gets to a part, like if you're watching the video, it gets to a part where you can kind of see like that little bit of movement between the garage and the back of his truck. That's where he's actually loading their bodies in the truck. You just can't get like a direct view of it like hard on like from this neighbor's camera. But when it gets to around that point, you'll see that he turns real quick and he's like, she's pregnant, and it's like, yeah, we kind of already knew she was pregnant, but it was like he was trying to distract them at that point. Like, hey, look over here. Did you know she was pregnant? That's super serious and important to know, guys. So it kind of almost felt like he was well, no, it looked very much like he was distracting them from looking at that video, because that video was like crazy. Hey, Goody. Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit better right now. My eyes hurt really bad. The light is like killing me right now. So hopefully that'll go away in a little bit. Try to take something else. But thank you for asking. But yeah, so he's like distracting the cops, and then basically he got to the end and they were getting ready to leave, and the cops are like, do you want us to leave a card so you can call us? And he's like, basically he was just kind of like, whatever, like, oh yeah, okay, fine. I would have been like, yeah, please, because if no one's coming home tonight, you're going to be back here like right away, and because I need to put a missing persons report out. But he was very, oh, she's on a play date, but I don't know which friend it is. I mean, like her friend, the friend that brought the police to the house. He was like, oh, she would know all of her friends because she's a female, so of course she would know all of their friends. I've only met these girls a couple times, so she could be with anybody. I mean, everybody's got babies all the same age as my kids. She could be anywhere. I just don't know. So didn't have a whole lot of concern, really. I mean, you think he would a little bit more, especially when the cops are leaving. When he found the wedding ring and he's sitting there like, I think she left, or we had an argument. Blah, 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 blah. I would be like fucking uncontrollable if my spouse left with my babies, our babies, and just took off and I didn't know where anybody was. I'd be freaking the hell out. Where the hell is my husband? Where are my babies? I need to know this. But he was just very, even later on, the news was there later on, and they were doing like an interview with him. And I actually remember watching that interview at work, because one of the ladies pointed out how he was just very like, how come he's not like upset about it? And I looked at her and I was like, you know what? You're right. He was not upset about it. He's all like this. He's like, I just want them to come home. If you're out there, I just want you to come home. Like, not crying, not upset, not emotional, not angry, nothing. It was just nothing. So yeah, that was a good point that she'd pulled out. So, that's pretty much how he was the whole time. Even, what incarnation? Yeah, right. I'm talking about the Netflix show, just so you guys know, American Murder, what is it called? The Family Next Door, or the People Next Door, something like that. But yeah, anyway, so then their suspicions started building more and more and more. They brought him in to talk to him because, of course, they've got to interview what happened in your home before she left. We got to know. He wanted to play it like, oh, like it wasn't a big deal. I didn't really expect this. Like, we just talked. Like, I was crying and like I was just like uncontrollable because we didn't have a spark. Like, it wasn't working between us anymore, and I just didn't want this. And it was like, well, is she seeing somebody? And he's like, well, if she is, I don't know about it. Like, I have no clue. Or are you cheating? No. That's a fucking lie. So then, So then everything starts coming out on the news. Like, this lady's missing, her children are missing, she's 15 weeks pregnant. We need your help searching. They had people stopping trucks on the road, giving them flyers, talking to them. If you've seen this lady, please call us. They are missing. She is pregnant. They went door to door. And when they were going door to door, they actually came across an older neighbor that was like, yeah, I saw a weird truck the other morning, because they were asking, you see new people or vehicles? She's like, yeah, I actually saw a newer truck the other morning. And they're like, really? Okay, well, what did this truck look like? She's like, it was like a dark color. She's like, I can't tell you make and model, blah, blah, blah. She's like, but she goes, it was a really dark, newer truck. And she goes, the dad over there, talking about Chris, the dad over there, he drives a dark truck that's like that, but this one was kind of smaller. Okay. Pootie Tang. Tip-tay. Yeah, I've seen that. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, like the old lady neighbor, she kind of saw what was going on. She saw that there was a different truck over there, which if you go back and look at the footage from the neighbors, there's his big dark truck in the driveway, and he backs in that little one. That's his work truck where he loads them into it. So yeah, then they ended up pulling him for a polygraph test. He fails the polygraph, comes back. The examiner for the polygraph and the detective were both like, all right, cool. So you fucking failed. Want to tell us what's really happening now? And he's like, I don't know how I failed that. That's crazy. It was just emotional. I'm just like so sad my wife and children are gone. And she's like, yeah, bullshit. She's like, you're not even crying for these kids. Which, yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't showing any kind of emotion at any time, really, for any of these people. And it was very suspicious. But he kept saying, I don't know. I didn't do this. I don't know what's going on. And then, I noticed this, and I don't know how many other people really caught this. But the examiner was like, oh, she's like, so what happened? She's like, did Shanann kill the kids? And you're trying to cover for her, and then you did something to her, or what? Like, what's going on? Or did you just kill them? Like, they're trying to figure out what happened. But the examiner, because Chris never said anything about Shanann before. He just said he didn't know where she or the children were. They were gone. He thought she left. Then after she said that and said, did Shanann do something? And then you did something to her. And then it kind of got all these other little conversations, little mini ones started real quick. They leave and bring Chris's father in to talk to him, because they're thinking, well, if he ain't going to talk to us, maybe he'll talk to his best friend and all this other stuff. So he talks to his dad, and when he's talking to his dad, you can tell he's kind of hesitating, like he's kind of stirring up a story in his brain by the way he's moving and acting, and kind of hesitating on when he's speaking. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I can't protect her anymore. Oh, I can't protect her anymore. Dad's like, what's going on? He then places the blame on Shanann and says Shanann strangled the kids because he didn't want to be with her anymore. So he was so enraged that he killed Shanann himself and then got rid of all of their bodies because he was freaked out and didn't know what to do. Yeah, that's still bullshit. Come to find out, he had a girlfriend on the side. And from her admission, as I guess you would say, is that she said that they had broken up and been seeing each other for a few months prior, which wasn't true at all. They actually had text messagings going back and forth with each other, like pretty heavily. She is actually one person that had come forward against him, because when everything was happening on the news, she had seen it and she was like, what? I didn't know that he had a pregnant wife. I knew he had a wife and 2 girls, and he told me that they were in the process of separating and getting a divorce. That's why I felt it was okay to jump into this mess that's not even cleaned up yet, which don't ever do that, people. If somebody's getting divorced or separating from someone else and they're looking to get with somebody, don't fuck with those people. They're drama, they're trouble. I'm going to leave it at that. So obviously with this, but let's see. There's a crime documentary on Netflix called I'm a Killer Released or something like that. It's about a murder. I don't know. Really? Oh, wait. It's a I Am a Murderer or something. Like, is it like it's like kind of like a spin-off from one of the murder shows, right? Where it's like after they're released from prison and the guy like goes and lives with this lady that's been pen paling him forever, but he calls her mama or something. Sometimes the booty's too good. Right? I mean, and that was the crazy thing too, is it like the chick he decided to get with looked very similar to his wife. Very similar, just like maybe like she would be like a younger sister to this girl that he married. Yeah. So, like I said, she'd come out and said, hey, he lied to me. He told me he had a wife that he was separating from, and then he had 2 little girls, but he did not even say she was pregnant. He never told me she was pregnant. Which, I mean, how do you not know somebody's pregnant to just leave that out? 15 weeks it's like a couple months there. Like, how do you not know your wife's pregnant? Anyway. So, after the polygraph and all that other shit, he confesses to his dad that Shanann killed the kids and he killed Shanann in a fit of rage. I honestly felt really bad for his dad because his dad just looked really completely broken over it. Like, are you fucking, like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I can't believe that. Like, wow. And yeah, I felt totally bad for the dad at first. I'll tell you my other reasons why later. I don't feel bad for him, but yeah. And I guess, before she was even found and all this other stuff, he'd been gone for like 5 weeks. 5 weeks. I don't know exactly what he was gone for. I'm going to assume it was for work. But he was gone for 5 weeks. And this is when he actually met the girl that he ended up having a side relationship with. And he spent most of that 5 weeks with this girl, completely, not really having a regard for the family that he had set up for himself or the people that he loves back home. And of course, he was like very distant with Shanann while he was gone, and that had all happened. She's starting to worry, like, what's this problem? Why isn't he into me anymore? Like, what the fuck? And then he comes home. And she's like, he doesn't grab my ass. He doesn't do this. He's not doing that. He's barely paying attention to the kids. This and that and the other. And he says it's nothing. Homeboy had been working out hard. He lost like almost 100 pounds, was starting to look good. So you can tell he was probably ready to go find somebody else for whatever the hell his reason was. But, yeah. So then I'm going to go back into the actual story, not back pieces. But yeah, so then I'm sure I'm missing some parts in there somewhere. He confesses. They arrest him. He goes to jail. He's serving 3 consecutive life sentences. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I didn't lose anything. 3 consecutive life sentences. Oh, yeah, and there was like an author that was like, she was doing the phone calls and the visits with them, and she ended up writing a book based on his tellings to her and his confessions. Because in this book, she's saying that he had said that he had killed the girls before Shanann came home, which, as it came out, because this guy lies so much, like we won't ever really know what happened to these girls. Because right before he was actually sentenced, he didn't want the death penalty, and they were like, well, the only way you're going to avoid the death penalty is basically if you confess to these murders. So then when he confessed, he said that he'd gotten into it with Shanann, or she had come home, they had sex, got up the next day, told her he didn't want to be with her anymore. She's like, what the fuck? You finally fucked me, and then you tell me you don't want to do this anymore. Like, actually, I would have been like, that's kind of a slap in the face, asshole. Like, thanks. I didn't want your pity fuck, but thanks. And then supposedly Cece, the youngest one, had woken up after he had strangled and killed Shanann. Hey, Dan, thanks for joining. After he killed Shanann, supposedly the youngest one had walked in and was like, what happened to mommy? And then he scoops 2 girls up and puts them in the back of the truck, scoops the body of his wife up and puts her in the back of the truck, and then drives out to one of his old work sites. He works in the oil fields as an operator, and he buried her in a spot. And from what he says now, not from the book, because the book doesn't even have like real evidence or anything that makes sense that he would have said that. So it's probably this lady just making up shit to sell a story. Yeah, that dude is straight fucking trash. It is, because it gets a lot better. So anyway, from what he says is that he put Shanann in a grave, which he did. He did put her in a grave. And then there are these oil tanks that aren't that far off from it. They're on the same little plot right there. And that he had, the girls were still alive, and that he had supposedly put something over, I think it was a blanket or a sheet over one of the girls' heads, and took her out and ended her and put her in the oil tank, and then came back, and supposedly the little girl asked, what happened to Cece or Bella, I forget which one. She asked what happened to the other sister, and then he did the same to her, basically, which is any way that it would have happened, it's still disgusting and disturbing, unfortunately. There was a lot of little things that I picked up about his family, because if you guys don't mind, I actually want to get into Chris Watts himself next Tuesday in the morning, since we're talking about this case. But yeah, because like I said, there was some stuff I noticed about his family. Like, she had an issue while he was gone the 5 weeks. She had an issue with the mother, and she had a big blowout. One of the little girls, she has a lot, it seems like she's got a lot of allergies. She can't have pistachios, she can have certain nuts, she just can't, there's a lot of different things she can't have. And I guess Chris's mom, because Shanann had the girls over there visiting while Chris was gone playing, she had the girls over there, and the grandmother went out and bought an ice cream that almost literally had all these things in it, and was trying to give it to the little girl. And I guess Shanann had walked in and was freaking out, like, dude, you're trying to fucking kill my kid. What are you doing? Like, get that. Don't ever give her anything like that. And the mother claims she didn't know, but it's kind of like, I call bullshit, because I think most grandparents who are a big part of their grandbaby's life and their children's life, that your baby's got allergies. That baby's got allergies. Don't talk bullshit. And then now, it just coincidentally enough, since this Netflix documentary has aired, his family is actually coming out with these the Watts family tapes. And Chris only has 3 surviving relatives right now. He has his mom, his dad, and his sister. His sister's been super quiet throughout most of all of this, and it seems like she's very secretive about stuff. The mom, like I said before, there was that issue with the ice cream before. She didn't really like Shanann in the first place. There could be some reasons for that, aside from other things. Maybe they just don't click as people. That shit happens, that's fine, but sometimes you still got to get along for other shit. But yeah, the mom, right now, the mom's basically going, we need to get over this so we can move on. Like, basically, she wants everybody just to drop this so they can all move on, so he can move on. Because I heard a little bit, I didn't really get it. I want to look into it more, because like I said, next week I want to talk about Chris Watts himself and his family. Yeah, there's just some weird shit going on. Did I see the video with his neighbors? Yeah, it was in the documentary too. I'd seen it before because they had it on Dr. Phil. Because Dr. Phil had the whole family on, like, it was the end of last year or the beginning of this year, I want to say. I don't quite remember, but I remember seeing him on it and thinking that the mom was just, her mom is something. Her mom claims that she's like, oh, I knew the moment she died and the moment the girls died, because they all visited me in a dream that night, and they're talking about that. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up. No, you didn't. I can see it if she said just her daughter Shanann visited her and she knew when Shanann died. No, you didn't have a whole fucking group of ghosts coming to your house telling you, bon voyage, we're going upstairs. Like that, no, bullshit. If it was one, I would see it. But if it was all 3 of the babies that came and told you they can go visit Disneyland whenever they want to now, and you have these bullshit, shut up. I guess if it makes you feel better, but you're full of shit too. You people are just weird. Anyway, I also heard a small thing about how Chris Watts' family is getting a lot of these YouTube videos taken out by YouTube. I guess YouTube's cutting a lot of these Chris Watt videos because the family's wanting, to my understanding, like I said, I'll have to clear all this up by next week. To my understanding is that they're wanting compensation for telling his story. And I say, God, that's so fucking bright. And I say, oh, fucking well, because guess what? When you're a fucking inmate, you don't have fucking rights. And he's not a child, so you're not responsible for him anymore. Oh, well, it's public knowledge. It's public information. So for you asking for compensation for his story and getting people to monetize for it, you can suck my dick. Sorry, not sorry. I'll talk about it all I want. I think that's kind of what drove me to talk about a little bit more this morning, is the fact that they were, from what I understood, was getting upset that people were not compensating them for their shit, and then just wanting to freestyle tell a story. I don't give a fuck. So, but yeah, so yeah, he's serving 3 consecutive life sentences. Unfortunately, he was not charged with the unlawful termination and death of his unborn child, because I guess there's 15 states in the US that do not consider unborn babies people. So if you're like 8 months pregnant or 9 months pregnant and you're due at any time and somebody kills your baby and it's still in your body, it doesn't count as a person. It's kind of fucked up. That's really fucked up. So just so you guys know, I'm not pro abortion. So unless it's a medical necessity or because of incest and rape or some shit like that, then that's kind of a border right there. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah. So that's all that story really was. I was actually surprised I got that done in 26 minutes. I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if I go off on so many tangents. I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to tell this story in 30 minutes. But no, yeah, this guy's nuts. I really do think that, I think something happened in his family, by the way they're acting in regards to all this little things before this all went down and happened. And then just how he is, like, something just don't seem right. It doesn't seem right at all. And I'm very curious now about his backstory and what it was with his family growing up. Because, I mean, you guys know. You guys watch Girls Going Gin all the time. You guys know that when we talk about, like, serial killers, people who are stalkers or serial rapists or whatever, arsonists, all kinds of shit, they're usually people who have, like, there's clicks that aren't clicking right, and they're clicks that aren't clacking. You know, and a lot of times it's not just because they were born that way, but a lot of times it's just the result and the consequences that they've gotten from their environments. It's really fucking early for this. They become a product of their environment. It's all stuff that, you know, they see it, they feel it, it's happening, you know, it affects them in a way. It's not right, but we can't stop it all. It happens. It's gonna happen. It's gonna always happen. Yeah. Oh, talking killers, which, yeah, I love it. Yeah, if you guys not heard, Dan Yeager of Texas Chainsaw 3D, really cool guy. Miguel just had him on Great American Morning. Was it last Wednesday or Wednesday before last? I don't know. And he was on. We promoted his coffee a little bit. He talked about it. He's got some new stuff going on with the coffee. You guys go check out Dan's Coffee, Killer's Choice Coffee Company. It's pretty good coffee. I'm going to try the other ones too. But yeah, non-sponsored, by the way. I just like Dan. Dan's cool people. So yeah, so that was the breakdown of the documentary. I mean, like I said, if it's really not a long, elaborate, gone on story or anything. It seems like it was just pretty, you know, it all happened very quickly. Somewhat. I know that her brother, Shanann's brother, was upset that they didn't get him sooner. They're like, they kind of dragged their feet. Should have got him quicker. But yeah, so that's the unfortunate story of the Watts family. Yeah, that's about it. And my alarm's going off because it's 8 o'clock. So guys, I am at time right now. I appreciate you guys tuning in. You guys, tomorrow morning we got Lauren up to bat, and then Thursday will be our normal show, and then we will see you guys again next week. So thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys next time.